What would happen if the bank locked you out of your account? You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today, we're going to discuss this one very important issue that is overlooked by many. If you woke up tomorrow morning and tried to access your online banking and it wasn't letting you in, so you decided to get on the phone, and they give you the same story. Then you show up at the bank and find this big lineup. And the people don't know what happened. They're not getting the true story. They can't figure it out. So what do? Everything you have is in that bank. You need it. You have to pay your bills. You got to eat today. You didn't even have any cash at home. And what would you do? Well, you're going to line up at the bank and you're going to yell and you're going to scream. And that's the danger that presents itself. So take a look at this. In this particular case, for this one particular country, it just happens to be now, the banks freeze more than 1,200 accounts in this particular probe. The number is still rising. I understand there's something going on in this country right now. It's got nothing to do with the generalizations I'm making. But just for a moment, bear with me. These people, last week, they were using their credit card, they were accessing their ATMs, they were depositing money, taking it out. The money was free flowing. No problem. They could get loans, anything they need to do. This week, completely different story. They've been ruined. Maybe deservingly or whatever. I'm not talking about this issue, okay? Just in general. I'm just talking about what happens. If the bank calls a bank holiday, that we've seen countless times throughout history, and you don't have access to your money, what are you going to do? That's what I want to know. Many people would say, well, it's not going to happen, so I'm not worried about it. That's usually the argument that I see a lot of times, which is a silly argument to begin with, because it's happened many times before and surely could happen again. Well, the central bank will be there to save the day. And maybe they will, maybe they won't. I'm not really sure. But you're taking a risk. And this risk is because we've entrusted our savings, our hard-earned savings, to governments and corporations. And it's not acceptable to put our trust into either of the two. But people do it every day. That's where all of their savings are, if they have any. And that's where their investments are. When you invest in anything, you don't necessarily, when you're talking about a bond, for example, yeah, you might have a bond, but really what are you doing? You're giving your money to a government, a company, whatever it is, and they will give you a small piece of that back every year. I don't think people see it like that. You are giving them money, they give you back a trickle. Some give you higher than others, of course, and some give you negative. But that's what you're doing. You're saying, well, wow, I'm going to make 5% of my money every year. This is great. This is a great investment. But if you think about it, they're giving you back 5% every year. And I'm not saying something like that, it couldn't be a good investment. I'm just saying that's the way we need to think of it. Your money is gone and you're getting this trickle back. They can close up shop tomorrow and your money's gone. What would you do? Yell and scream. I think we need to be a lot smarter with our money. That's all I'm trying to suggest here, is that most people are not. You need to be prepared in every way possible. Every way possible. All right. This was really interesting, and it's something that I've been covering a lot, and I want to show you one other point, so hang in there. More store closings have been announced in 2017 than any other year on record. Than any other year on record. Since January 1st, retailers have announced plans to shutter more than 6,700 stores in the US. That beats the previous all-time high store closings in 2008 amid the financial crisis. Walgreens helped vault this year's tally to a new high. It plans to close 600 locations. Okay. Now that's big, right? And many people suggest that, and I hear this all the time, and I agree somewhat, for sure. Amazon is getting bigger. E-retailers are getting bigger. That's where the money is going. There's no doubt that Amazon and all these online websites, even their own websites of these particular companies, and you need less brick and mortar. That's definitely true to some degree. But look at this. Right from the US Census Bureau, Department of Commerce. Look at this. E-commerce sales in the second quarter of 2017 accounted for 8.9% of total sales. Less than 10% of total sales are online. So, although that is probably much more significant than it was 10 years ago, it's still only 8.9%. So it's not that big of a factor. When you see brick and mortar closing down at the rate it has been, record high rate, it's because of the poor economy, not just because of e-commerce. So I hope everybody understands that. I think I've made my point on that. And this here, interconnected with the last video I did, where the working class cannot afford to live, illustrating how much money is left at the end of the year for a typical American working class family. Now, I don't know how they came with these calculations and everything else, but just looking at it for what it is, you can see that the big cities, the major cities, people can't afford it. The average person can't afford it. When you're looking at New York, minus 91,000 somehow, the average person, they can't live there comfortably. There's no way. That's why they have all these shared facilities like dormitories, essentially, where people can live. Because, hey, why have your own place to live? That's all for this video. If you found it informative, please give me a thumbs up. Last but not least, if you found the video informative, I know you will find my books, The Money GPS, and my newer release, Global Economic Collapse, even more informative. Check these books out at Amazon. There are links in the description below. You can check that out to flip through the books for yourself. Take care.